Coming up on this episode of The Power of Real Estate.
Where you go, he goes with you. To even say or think he's not with you when you get in the car and go to work or when you're at a listing presentation, you're missing the whole point. He is with you. You did not leave him at home.
And earlier you said, you didn't leave him on the counter in the kitchen. And the only thing I can think of was Elf on the Shelf when you said that. I'm not sure why, but that's what popped into my head.
Yeah.
He is not Elf on a Shelf.
She spent over 20 years as a successful realtor and realtor coach, recipient of over 40 sales, leadership, and literary awards from the legendary Music Row in Nashville. This is The Power of Real Estate with Michelle Moore.
Hello and welcome to The Power of Real Estate. All right, so I'm here in the studio with producer Jimmy.
Why do you say it so dramatically? I'm in the studio, in a world where there's a studio, and I'm in it.
And if a tree falls and no one hears it, did it really fall?
If Michelle falls in the studio, and only producer Jimmy sees it.
Did she really fall?
Yes, she did, because I have picture proof.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. You know what? We could probably watch paint dry and still have fun.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
All right, so today's topic, we're going to talk about your real estate business and your faith.
Okay.
All right, so, I've been speaking and teaching, publicly, like in front of crowds of people and stuff for about 7.5 years now. I was just sharing with producer Jimmy that I had this idea for the show, and I was a little bit surprised that I hadn't thought of it before, but then again, kind of surprised I thought of it at all. And so I was sharing with producer Jimmy that this is my number one question that I get from real estate agents. I get agents that will call me and ask me if I'll go to lunch with them or meet them for coffee. They have something they need to speak with me about, and it's about their faith. And they'll, because I'll usually ask, well, can you give me an idea about what this might be about? And so I just had it again recently happen and met with an agent, still fairly new agent. We just had this whole big conversation, and so it got me to thinking about how many of you are probably struggling as Christians. It seems that there's people are out there that are real estate agents that are struggling with how to be a Christian, be true to their faith, and still be an effective real estate agent.
Now, that surprises me when you share that with me. I'm not sure why, but like I was telling you off air, if you were a used car salesman and maybe there was something in your job that was like borderline unethical, then maybe you would say, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. But I don't see how that would happen in the real estate business. Yeah.
Yeah, so good. What a great question. And so that's when I said we needed to just start rolling. And so that's why we went on ahead and started the show. But my reply to that, Jimmy, is, and I'll be interested to hear from you guys, the agents, the listeners. You can always email me at Michelle, which has 2 L's, Michelle at realestatecoachingsimplified.com. What I hear agents comment and say, come up to me after I speak, whatever it might be. And for those of you that don't know this, I am a Christian. I wrote a book that's in Christian bookstores called Abandonment to Forgiveness. I speak at Christian women's conferences. And so if you know anything about me, probably one of the biggest things that you know is that I am a Christian. It is a very active part, very centralized part of my life. And so, and in fact, I have something else to share with you, producer Jimmy, about that happened just this last week as well. But what I think happens is that Christians feel like, first of all, we don't want to push our beliefs on anyone. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, okay, but I want to be true to myself, and I want to do something, and want to be, be in line with what my faith is, but yet I don't want to be pushy or offend anyone or upset anyone by being a Christian or bringing up my faith. And so, I just had some people that I was representing on buying and selling a home. I knew they were Christians and they really wanted this home. We were coming up against a couple of problems. And I just said, you know what, why don't we do this? I just feel like we're supposed to stop and just pray. And I just started praying for them and praying for the situation. And they were so appreciative, but it was very easy for me to do that because I knew them. I was personal friends with them. I'd helped her buy the home 7 years ago. They're now selling the home. She's married now and, selling with her new spouse, and I'm helping them buy this new home. But I knew that she was a Christian, and so it was very easy to do that. But I think that that's part of it. You bring up a great point. Was like, well, what's so shady about real estate? But I think what the point is that, I have agents that say, I feel like my faith life and my business life don't intersect in any way. They just run parallel. I remember the very first time someone came up to me, like I said, it was over 7 years ago, and the lady came up to me. I was in Alabama speaking at an event, and she just said, I just feel like my life, my business life and my faith life don't intersect in any way. And I remember seeing a vision, and the vision was of two parallel lines. And so, and when I get feedback and different feedback, because I'll do the Michelle's Freebies, that is a form people can fill out when I speak. A lot of times I have some free things people can get that helps them with their business. And at the bottom, it says, how has what Michelle has spoken on helped you and or your business today? And one of my number one feedbacks people make comments on is, thank you, Michelle, for showing me how I can be a Christian and a real estate agent, but still be a real estate agent true to my faith. Or, I've had so many different people say it that way. Real estate agents, and just I think all professions, not just real estate agents, I think Christians in general, we struggle sometimes, or we can struggle if you're not careful with what that looks like. What does being a Christian in today's time look like without offending or imposing, our beliefs on someone? And one of the first things I say, because it's very common, I get people who say to me, I'm just trying to figure out how to not leave Jesus in the car, or how to not leave Jesus at home, and, take him to work with me. And what I say is, well, he who lives in you is always with you. So let's start with that first. And people are always like, oh, yeah, oh. And so it's like, yeah, he lives in you. So if he lives in us, he's always with you. You don't leave him at home. You don't leave him on the countertop in the kitchen. It doesn't work that way. And so, but that's the first thing, is the realization that, yes, you may be maybe not being true to maybe those promptings that you may have, and you may be quiet. You may not ask somebody. Like I said, I felt like all of a sudden I was supposed to pray for that couple. And even though I knew they were Christians, that doesn't always mean that somebody wants you to pray for them. But I did. I just felt like, oh, I'm supposed to pray. And most Christians are appreciative. I mean, I've yet to find one that says, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. Christians are like, oh, my goodness, you'll actually pray for. Is what we're used to is hearing people say, well, I'll pray for you. How do you know? I had a friend who lost her son, and she said to me, I've got a lot of people saying they'll pray for me, but how do I know they'll actually do it?
Yeah.
I have people that will call me or reach out to me and say, hey, I'm going through this or I'm going through that, and I really just needed to call someone that I just really knew would actually pray for me. Will you please actually pray for me and keep me in your thoughts and prayers? And so those are the kinds of things, we just have to be very aware of. What I have started to do is be a little bit more what I guess most people would call bold. I just say, I just am true to what my experiences are, what my faith is, and who I am. And if that rubs people the wrong way, then they're just not my people, and that means then that they wouldn't be my client. And if that's okay, if that's a deal breaker, I'm okay with that, because I think my God is bigger than one client walking away. Like, God can bring me 10 more. And sometimes it's a test. Sometimes we can walk through a test. I remember, talking with Adonis Lindsay, who's been in a few times, and him saying, we can sometimes be tested even with our own integrity. And so nothing compromised. I don't want anything compromising my integrity, just like I don't want anything compromising my relationship with Christ. And so that's one of the biggest things, is you have to say, okay, where is my commitment level on a scale of 1 to 10? Are you all in, or are you not? Because I always say, God is not a God of, shades of gray. God is a God of black or white. You don't kind of sin, you don't kind of tell a white lie. It's either the truth or a lie, or, Jesus didn't kind of die on the cross for you. And so he did die on the cross. There's not a kind of, there is no, get your Sharpie marker out and black Sharpie marker out and cross out which scriptures you don't want to follow. It's an all or none kind of thing. And so for me, I have just grown in that, where I've said, okay, God, if I am truly a Christian and I truly am committed to you, and you truly are, the God of my life, and I'm going to, put all of what my future looks like in your hands, then I'm going to walk that out. And sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable. But when I feel absolutely called to do that, then to say something, do something, pray for someone, whatever that looks like, then I'm going to do that. And I'm willing to take on whatever that may cause, or, someone gets upset or whatever. But I'm going to be true to you, and I'm going to be true to my faith and my relationship with you, because you really are genuinely, truly first. And what's the saying, Jimmy? It's like, people tell you a lot of times what they're going to do, but, actions speak louder than words.
Right.
What are they going to do? And so that's putting your faith, there's a scripture that says that, faith is dead without works. Well, that's putting my faith in action. It's putting the work to my faith. And so it's just how I see it. and I'm unapologetically a Christian, and so I remember being a baby Christian. I remember being so worried I was going to offend someone or upset someone or hurt someone. Now I don't come in to listing presentations or whatever it might be and thumping people over the forehead with a Bible. I don't do that either. And so there is a way to do it, and I think that God, when there's gentleness, when there's kindness, when there's peace, those are all things that we know that are indicators and fruits of that spirit. And so we're going to know that that's good. If you are having to hit people upside the head, well, then that's not Jesus. And so we don't want to force feed anything. And so, but you do want to be authentically you, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to put your head down on the pillow at night and say, you know what, I did this. I did really genuinely put God first. Yeah, we may not be used car salesmen like producer Jimmy said, but does that make sense now?
Yeah.
Christians can feel like, well, there's that balance, and especially in the workplace.
So if they don't intertwine, you might want to reevaluate your situation.
Yeah, and just how are you, that mindset, because, I think sometimes people forget that he is in you, and so where you go, he goes with you. And so to even say or think that he's not with you when you get in the car and go to work or when you're at a listing presentation, you're missing the whole point. He is with you. You did not leave him at home.
And earlier you said, you didn't leave him on the counter in the kitchen. And the only thing I could think of was Elf on the Shelf when you said that. I'm not sure why, but that's what popped into my head.
Yeah.
He is not Elf on a Shelf.
Yeah. And, and I had a lady who recently said, I've been avoiding you. I really want to take RESP. But I really don't think that it necessarily is about what I'm going to learn at RESP. I think this is actually about being in the room with you and what I may learn from you as you, the person. And
wow.
I was like, okay, so you've been avoiding me. I don't even know this woman that well for her to say that. So it made me feel very uncomfortable. But here's the thing, when she clarified, because I was like, okay, now, so why exactly have you been avoiding me? And so, sometimes we just know God can be kind of prompting us to spend time with someone or to take a course and say, okay. And her thing was, well, my perception, I've been following you for a while now on social media and stuff. And I said, okay. And she said, but I've been following you, and my perception is that really God is in the middle of everything that you do. And I said, it is. And so she said, well, so if that's the case, and she was like, I feel like I have some things to learn that God wants me to learn, and I believe it's going to be from you. And so anyway, so what I say is boldly step into that. When God is calling you into something like that and you're just a little worried, you know what, don't be worried, because that's like a conflict of your faith. You just have to, that's where faith comes in, right? Is just, stepping forward and putting it in God's hands. It's faith is, what is it, hope, the things that are hoped for but not seen. And so, but that's where your faith is. And so you may not see something, but you know who God is. And that's what you can lean on. That's what you can stand on. That is the foundation to you and your faith in your life. And so we just wanted to have this little conversation and hope it helps you if you've been struggling with taking God. I'm not sure if he's with you at all, the things that you do. The biggest way that you can glorify God, though, is in the way that you conduct yourself, the way that you talk to people, the way that you forgive them, the way that you show grace, the way that you love them. Even when they're unlovable, you still love them. And you just say, you know what, I love you regardless. I love you. Love people where they are. And just, kindly and honestly take care of your clients. And that will witness to people more than anything. Hope this has been good help for you. I hope this has been encouraging. Would love to hear from you, Michelle at realestatecoachingsimplified.com. And we'll see you next time on The Power of Real Estate with Michelle Moore.
Realtors, if you're ready for the latest tools, scripts, and techniques, visit realestatecoachingsimplified.com. We'll see you next time on The Power of Real Estate with Michelle Moore.